but they get the jobs. One way or another. Yeah. Email, etc.
Oh,
I would like one,
yeah,
yeah.
I printed 6, so.
Thanks, Kat.
Sure, I just threw it together, I'm like, what do they need for this meeting? I don't really know, but.
This is perfect, this is exactly the type of information that other previous.
And you even put a little color in it. That's what we really
Is
like.
that how
We really like the
they love pie charts?
pie chart,
But
is really wonderful.
If a pie chart is
Oh, I'll do that for next time.
necessitated by the data at hand, it's
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we
Oh,
should.
that's good. For me.
Also,
We're
the
also a
pretzels
little
are
nuts.
gluten-free, if anyone would like pretzels.
That's okay, I think you gotta be.
Also,
in
these
the
have a
phase
lot of
just to fit it
I
in.
still remember back when we were over on, what, Smith Street or whatever it's called.
Everything
Uh,
not cornstarch, probably.
We got done with the meeting, we had
It
a
was really good to
brand
have
new
any
NRCS person in
Or
there
brownies.
that night.
This was the only.
And we were
pastry
just
version of
being
pastry.
crazy selves.
Besides like the full like.
And he got up,
which I thought was-
walked to the door, opened it, turned around, said, "You people are crazy," and walked out of the door.
Cut 'em off.
I laughed.
I wonder what it was.
I thought it was funny.
Too much for it?
And then it got loud between Paul Dolan.
Oh,
and-
That actually very
oh, yeah, that would,
I know Dennis really good, but.
maybe he had sensory overload.
Yeah.
And they've got like 12 people playing it, which is good.
Gotta get
It's
used
a
to
lot
it.
better than just being right alley. They've got like over like planning. committee, which
You're gonna go
is-
to my yard.
Alright.
Just pointing out, I don't believe we've called to order yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Well, it's almost 20 of us, 4:37, and if they're gonna get here, then they'll get here and catch up. We've got a quorum. So, thank you all for being here. Nice to see everybody. We have someone new with us. Would you like to tell us who you are and why you're here?
Sure. My name is Alex Palazzo. I work in IT and I also work at Bambi Farm up in Halford Ave. I'm here because I love farming. I love helping out any way I can, either IT or just anything you guys need help with.
Okay. Well, I mean, do you know anybody here? If not, we'll-
Molly.
Molly,
Yeah, we
okay,
had a
so,
one-on-one chat.
I'm Dick Went, I'm the chair of the board, I retired, so I do these kinds of things. So, Mark?
Merle Ellensley, I'm a forester, I'm a voting board member.
I'm Kat Zoromski. I work for the Natural Resources Conservation Service, and I'm currently kind of filling in, helping out with the district conservationist role in Northern. So that's why I'm here.
Because we never seem to have a district conservation.
You chose that wording carefully. So you're not acting, you're
I'm not,
lending a
so,
helping hand.
yes, that is what it has been qualified as, helping. So, there was an official detail that I applied for, but it's just sitting in HR somewhere.
I hope it's having a lovely time.
So, and that's fine, and it seems like, they wanna maintain some consistency with the staff, so
Yeah.
Jill is kind of doing some of the maintaining the workload and staff management for what staff will have left, and I'm helping just with kind of whatever they need,
It seems to
so.
be what everybody's doing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy
All
over
hands
there
on
right
all
now.
the decks. We're glad to have you, and I'm sure
Thanks.
Jill is.
Yes.
Sure.
Justin?
Jessamine, I do the outreach and events here and the notes for the board meetings. I'm a board member.
Paige, board member, and I run a farm, and we do conservation work, and we have a forest, so we're sort of a 3Z instead of just a 1Z.
Okay. All right, very good. So let's move on to minutes. Hopefully everybody has seen the minutes.
Yeah.
I knew you this one.
Yeah.
Do I hear a motion?
I pass a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. All right, treasurer's report.
So our, my accountant meeting will be Monday, so we don't have a detailed report yet, but I will let you know that the accounts are sitting about where they were a month ago with over 200,000 in total assets in the accounts, not counting State Farm Farms, which, sounds like so much, but it's where we want to be when we're looking at, we might have delays in grant reimbursements to keep our staff working.
If everything goes back to normal someday, we should think about putting a little bit of that money maybe in a CD, short-term CD or something, just for the hell of it.
About half of it's in a high yield savings account, and we make about $50 a month in interest.
What's that percent? It's like,
Probably 2 or 2.5.
Okay, any questions for Molly, and we will postpone the treasurer's report till next month. We'll table it, as a matter of fact. Any questions for Molly, though? Okay, moving on, old business, seedling sale, call for volunteers.
So, I put this out just today, but we might actually be in okay shape without having to. I don't know, do you feel that way? Because tomorrow we have you, me, Gina DeMarco, and Molly Kimball, right?
Yes, I will say, I realize I cannot be at the farm at 10. I can be there a little early to set up, but I have a meeting with Hez at 10.
Oh, tomorrow?
But it's
That's
virtual,
fine.
so I could just take it in the greenhouse.
That's fine,
So-
I
What times
But
are
either
you
way.
doing these? I mean, I might be able to fit some time in if you need it, but I need to know what the times are, you know,
Just
either.
like basic work hours, like 10 to 4 is what I'm kind of
On what days are we talking?
Thursday, well, tomorrow, Thursday and Friday. I have about 5 folks for both Thursday, Friday, and tomorrow, now that
I don't think we need many more then.
yeah.
And I also don't think we're gonna need until 4 every day.
So the
Yeah.
distribute, that's just for the bundling?
Bundling
process?
and, for the last few years, we've been putting our orders together ahead of the sale. makes the
And then-
sale morning very
And
easy.
when is the actual people picking up?
Saturday at 10 to 12.
10 to 12.
You need people
Two
for
hour
that?
window.
Well,
I would love if somebody could
Maybe.
be there
yeah,
at least for the first half, because I'm planning to attend, but I can't get there super early.
I'm planning on getting there early to like set up everything.
So if Destiny got an early run of people, I might not be there quite yet. Both, my husband and I are both working like both days, all of the next few weekends, so it's a bit of a juggling act.
Okay, so what time are we starting on Saturday?
I'm planning to get, the sales at 10, I'm planning to get there probably 8:39ish to set up to make sure everything's good, and some people do show up a little early.
You'll have people at like 9.
I will try to get there before 10. What time that is, I can't guarantee you, but I will try to get there before.
Yeah, and Southside folks will also have their seedling starts, they set up the greenhouse last weekend, so that's all good.
Oh, great.
And Sanctuary Herbs, the tea shop on site, will also be open for business.
So we should make sure we let people know when we send the reminder email for pickup that,
They got started so they can get tea.
yeah, and they take card now, right? So you don't have to bring cash, that's so huge.
So you
Well,
want
double check
to
the
see what
greenhouse,
channel
but
it
the
is?
tea shop takes card. I'll double check
I
the
think the
greenhouse.
greenhouse has a way.
Okay, cool.
I think it can use the same like point of sale system.
Yeah, they probably, I don't see why they.
I definitely bought some stuff on card last year.
Gotcha, okay. So yeah, if we bought card last year, then I know
Although I'm
that
sure they prefer cash as small businesses, so.
as someone who just bought something at Sanctuary Herbs with my card this week, yeah, they take card.
Yeah.
So,
Make sure yours
I
is
can't
paid.
confirm.
So we're in pretty good shape. We've gotten it like kind of to a science. Jessamy did a great job. Orders have been good.
We sold out of a quarter of the inventory, yay. Like 2 things have sold out, and then
Yeah.
the other half are mostly sold out. I have like 3 bundles left of everything, so.
And she had more time to put to it than I used to, so she got to actually like fine tune the pricing. So we're gonna like make a small profit or at least break even, including her staff time.
Yeah, we should, yeah.
All right, so I won't try to force myself into a time to get there, then if you seem to have.
Yeah, I think it's gonna go well, and the nice thing this year, I was looking at the boxes, they actually already sorted out all the like the trees based on boxes, so like all the pine, Scotch pine are in one box. I think blue spruce and white spruce are in a different box. The bushes are in a different box, so it's actually, like last year, everything kind of came together.
Yeah.
But this year it's labeled, so it'll be more a factor of putting them into bundles as opposed to finding out what they are.
Yeah, that was a mess.
Yeah, that was kind of a big time crunch last year, was figuring
I
out
didn't
what the,
label all the bunches.
right,
So
figuring out
I
what the
was
bundles
like
of seeds were.
bringing out my field botany, like
Yeah.
texting Lou, like,
Texting Lou,
does
yeah.
this look like
I think
maple?
we called
Right,
it
there
at
would
some
be a
point.
There.
Chestnut tree.
I think we called a bunch of, we called Paul.
We did call Paul, yeah, I forgot that.
Which stick is which?
Yeah, calling Paul, and he's like, well, what kind of, and just using
Oh my
technical
gosh.
terms I don't know. And I was
Yeah.
like, Paul, I don't know what that means. It's a stick, it has leaves.
Maybe the amount of trees and shrubs that people ordered, or do you have extra?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So we have some extra, to, story short, because I bought like flat rate. Eastern runs theirs a little differently, which,
We used to do it that way.
yeah, where you order exactly
Yeah.
what was ordered, but I ordered a flat rate based on like popularity and stuff.
I might be interested in some extras. I have an event tomorrow, so I was like, well, I can't go to their seedling sale because I'm gonna be at a different thing.
Oh, we could next, if
What?
that ever comes up again and you wanna order, we have
And Julie's
ways.
interested too, but she's also gonna.
Yeah, we have ways.
Well, the event, the
Oh, yeah,
sale
the
is actually
Audubon.
Saturday. It's not.
Oh, I meant Saturday, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you going to the Audubon?
Yeah.
Thing?
Also, like, Megan Seeley put in a big order, maybe she could pick up,
And Liz Keith.
stuff for you guys and bring it back to the office.
I was gonna say, Molly
Well,
can
maybe
go
I
in.
can, I'll get in touch with you
I
about,
get in touch with her.
there's extras that I could purchase perhaps. We'll see.
Oh, there's still some left.
You can still go through the website.
Oh, you
for
can?
Another day or two.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
don't
realize
open
that.
until Thursday night.
Okay, maybe we can coordinate.
But Molly Kimball's actually doing that for Liz Camp, where she's picking up her order and bringing it to
Okay, yeah,
Eversource.
because Liz is also going to.
Exactly. So I don't think it's a big problem.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think
That would be helpful.
Molly Kimball's already on her way doing that, so, I mean, I don't wanna volunteer her for things,
Right,
but.
right, right.
but
I'll check
I'm
that
sure
out.
Safe
Laura,
place, right.
or Megan, I'm sure wouldn't mind.
Exactly.
Great, thank you.
Well, I think we beat that pretty well. Let's move on
Sorry.
to, no, it's okay. Potential partnership with Bloom, is this a place?
Placeholder. I hope you guys don't mind the placeholder thing. I find it easier to keep track of our running issues,
It's
by just
fine.
like moving them up.
Just needed to know whether we needed to know anything. Okay, moving on to reports, Snake Den Farm, Wicked Tulips 10th anniversary fundraiser.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure everybody's aware of this. So this is the 10th year of Wicked Tulips. They're gonna be having a flat rate fundraiser at the Johnston Farm.
I went by there a few days ago, and I didn't see any tulips.
Well, it could be in back, or they might just not be blooming yet. But it is a fundraiser for us. They're doing a fundraiser for us.
Really?
Okay.
Yes. And,
How's this gonna work?
How do they like us?
well, they should. The date, I wanna say is May 2nd, I just gotta pull up my work calendar. Is May 2nd, but there is a rain date as well. I reached out before the meeting to see if there's any new details to share with y'all. No, what is it?
It's a Thursday.
That's Friday.
Guys, I think I'm wrong, I can't find the date. I'm so sorry, I'm really bad, it's hard for me to talk and also look at the same time. Oh, Molly work event on Friday, May 2nd, yes, it is Friday, May 2nd. Okay, so they didn't have any new details, but I just wanted you to keep the date in mind, they're hoping for somebody to say a few words. Dick, of course, that's you if you want it, if you don't, I never mind. I did think it might be nice.
I'll send Mark, something.
If whoever does say a few words, mentions like, Jean, because she was always so active with them. Jean is a deceased beloved board member who passed away a few years ago. Was very involved with Wicked Tulips in their first few years. So,
So how does the fundraiser work? How does that?
they had no details. They're having a fundraiser, the beneficiary is us.
You go and you buy some tulips, and
It's
they're gonna
gonna be
give
a
us some money.
They're gonna keep some of the money to cover their staff, and the extra money will come to us. And I don't know if this is gonna be like $60 or if it's gonna be like 5,000. We'll find out, but you know what? It will be more than we had before. And it's also a good chance that everybody there will hear our name. They want us to hopefully table there.
If there's anything like it used to be, it could be closer to 5,000.
Well, yeah, it could, and they're even more intense than they used to be. They're extremely popular.
Well, I know the Exeter farm has been very popular. I hear about it on the radio and the Channel 10. It's like, oh, it's open with an Exeter farm. And I'm like, I wonder about Snake Den. I wonder if
They
the
do
timing
it,
is
it's
different.
timing.
Right.
So they plant their early varieties in Exeter,
Okay.
their mid varieties in Preston, Connecticut, and their late varieties in Johnston.
Oh, that's how it works. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't even know when they were gonna start growing again, to be honest with you.
I mean, they were in Johnston last year,
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
and I think the year before. They've been in Johnston for the last 2 years. There were a couple years completely off.
Right.
Right. Probably had problems.
Well, yeah,
Okay,
then to rotate the fields more.
very good.
Especially
So,
during
nobody coming by tulips, somebody said. All right, moving on down, we just go right through those, because we have no reports. And Kat, you're up.
Goody. So, yeah, I did a quick rundown. Mainly equip
As the
and
rest of us.
so we are going through rounds 2 and 3 of EQIP and CSP currently. So are you familiar with the NRCS programs?
It's somewhat.
So EQIP is Environmental Quality Incentives Program, and CSP is Conservation Stewardship Program. So those are kind of like two of our bigger programs that we run, and we have periodic funding periods throughout the year where we batch and rank applications and pick out the ones that are going to be funded. So that's what this is all about.
Okay.
So rounds 2 and 3, we're just getting through. Those obligations are due by June 6th and July 11th respectively. So everyone is furiously working away on those.
Oh, wait, sorry, what was the deadlines were?
The deadlines.
Oh, the ranking.
The ranking deadlines were March 28th for round 2 and May 16th for round 3. Pre-approvals for 18 and 5:30 and obligations on the 6th of June and 11th of July.
So you won't actually know how much money has been spent this year until July 11th.
We won't know that until then, that's right. So as
Quick
of
question,
today,
yeah.
sure.
And this has nothing to do with that really, but at one point, we were told that each district would have a certain amount of money in their quote-unquote budget. Is that still the same?
I think so. I mean, I don't know all
I
the
don't know
things.
what,
That is the same. I was in a
but-
conversation with Bernie about it, but
But
there
it looks like they have ranking pools for each like local working group from what I noticed, so.
there could be redistribution if somebody doesn't spend all their money
that
after
would be expected.
July
Right.
11th.
So as of now, there's 16 obligated contracts for this fiscal year. 1.2 million, not bad.
Oh, that's like a lot for the number of contracts.
I think so too. I hope I did that right.
Somebody got a big engineering thing.
It could be just a big, yeah, there could be a couple of big contracts in there if there's some waste management stuff or something, so. But this was just running a quick report of current obligations.
Cool.
AMA, I couldn't drum up any information for. I don't know that I mean, it looked like there were applications, but, no entered cost information, so I'm not sure where that one stands. Yep, so the numbers are there for each program as to
Is
amounts
CSP
and
minimum
acreages.
still 4,000,
Yes.
1,500,
It's 4,000,
0? What?
for right now at least, it's $4,000 a year for a minimum for 5 years, each of the 5 years of the contract, so $20,000 total.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of a newer thing. Seems to incorporate more of the smaller scale producers that we have, so I think that's a good thing.
Well, that's why everybody pushed for a change. Because
Yeah, those folks are getting left out.
the little guys weren't getting any
Right,
real money out of it.
right. So, yeah, it seems like we've got like 238 acres under CSP and 278 acres under EQIP, so that's pretty good. I feel like probably the folks who know about CSP who know about EQIP are enrolling in CSP. We've been doing a lot of trying to get the word out to people on CSP, so I think it's taking hold.
Yeah, it's great.
And so 110 EQIP apps, 15 AMA, and 27 CSP. CSP renewal letters just went out. They're due in June to accept if they want to renew their CSP contracts. So Jill and I were kind of talking before I left today just about our staff is wearing down to the nub. We don't have, a lot of people are leaving. They took the deferred resignation program.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're gonna be left with. By the end of April, we should know who's
About
staying
half.
and who's going.
That's what you're gonna have.
But basically, we said, we're not gonna be able to do as much hand holding because we just don't have the staff capacity to follow up with phone calls every time, oh, this so-and-so needs this. Like,
Right.
they're gonna get the letter, they're gonna need to read their mail and like do what they're supposed to do. Because,
CSP renewal, is that after 5 years?
right, so they would have had a CSP contract and now
It's not an annual thing.
it's not an annual thing, it's after their 5-year contract is up. They will get a renewal notice in the mail from us. It says, your contract's up, do you want to apply for a new one? And acres enrolled and so forth, and they would just have to update, if there's been any changes and let us know, check a box, yes, I want to do it, and send it back to us. So it's pretty easy. But yeah, it's just gonna be, I'm used to, and I think a lot of us have been used to following up with folks more regularly. And hopefully we can still do that as needed, but for stuff like this, we're just gonna have to do it. Yep, and I am temporarily assisting, as I mentioned, and who knows where that's gonna go in a couple of months. They could reassign me to the fields, because they're losing a lot of their staff, so I may go back to planning in the end. I'm still doing outreach, but just minimally, so I'll still be able, because right now I'm actually officially the outreach coordinator for Rhode Island, and I don't work in the field, but I did work in the fields in Connecticut for like 7 years. I was a planner, so I know about this stuff. So yeah, that's kind of where things are. It seems to change day to day with the information that we're getting. So it's hard to know what information to rely on.
Have they figure out what to do about the whole archaeological review business?
So right now, New York is covering for us, but it's, tough for them to get down here all the time, so they're kind of batching where there needs to be on-site reviews so that the New York person can come here on certain days and go out to those sites and review them. Right now, Liz Camps, who is our state agronomist, is kind of helping keep the information updated and organized, so as Cultural Resources reviews that the planners are getting come through, she's putting them in a folder and trying to keep it all together and updating a tracker so that we can know when that person comes, what they're gonna need to work on. Right now, all the on-site monitoring is on hold until further notice, so there are projects that need engineering that require an archaeologist to be on site during any excavation.
Oh.
So if a pipeline is going in, for example, that's usually where it happens, where you have a long length of pipeline that's covering a lot of ground. If it was flagged that it needs to be monitored, that archaeologist needs to be there when construction is happening.
It has to be an NRCS, like that?
No, so workaround could be that they can hire an archaeologist on their own and have them do that. And Liz, I can forward it to you, Molly, sent me the qualifications. It's sort of like the MFR, the kind of memorandum agreement that we've been doing in the past for NEPA and some of those things that aren't done by the deadlines that we're okay, we don't have this done for you yet, but you can sign this that this is gonna have to be in place before you can begin the work. And hopefully by the time you begin the work, we'll have it for you. So
Well, if you've got as many engineers leaving as you do other people.
I think
then
some
they're gonna have to be
engineers-
Hiring engineers like there's no tomorrow.
and that's gonna be another big bottleneck is engineering, because I know, from what I understand, just kind of coming into this past week, is they're already bottlenecked with engineering a bit. It's the nature of the beast, it is time consuming to do all those plans, and so they have a tracker and, just kind of getting to things as they are able to, so it's totally understandable, but that's just the way it is, so. Yeah, they can hire an outside archaeologist. I'll send you the requirements for that, just so we can be telling people, if you have a high priority project that you need to get done now, here's a way to do it. You'll have to just kick in some of your own funds to do it.
Does every contract require on-site review from an archaeologist, or just if it's identified as high likelihood of?
So every project does require that the planners review cultural resources and fill out, if it's some kind of ground disturbing practice,
Got it.
it needs to be reviewed by our archaeologist, who then determines based on their databases if it's a highly sensitive area where they would require monitoring. So if it's in an area where they don't believe there would be an issue, then they might just say, no historic property is affected.
Yep.
But if they're not sure, or there's sites nearby that ping, then they'll say, oh, we need to review this. Or if it's a big project with a lot of ground disturbance. So there might be various reasons why they might want to do the on-site monitoring, but every project does get reviewed for cultural resources. There are some workarounds, so if it's a ground disturbing project, but you install it in a particular way that is approved by us, then it doesn't need to be monitored. So pounding posts for high tunnels or bird boxes, things like that, if you're pounding the posts, then you can get around it that way. But if you're digging, for some reason, and excavating the soil, then that flags it for monitoring or potentially monitoring. Yeah.
Really a shame they lost her.
Yeah, I know. And they wanted to hire her back too, but she'd already moved on. So breaks.
What's amazing is that, I've been a TSC for 20 years, and there's never been a project that's been held up. We've never had an archaeologist hired in the state.
Mhm.
All of a sudden,
Yeah.
she comes on, 6 months later, she leaves, and everything's on hold.
Yeah.
Because the archaeological review hasn't been.
And is this
Forestry projects too?
Yeah. So that's a little
I wonder
surprising
how it
with
was going
forestry.
before, or did the?
Well, the planner might have just done a review and.
So at least in Connecticut, we had, our projects would go to a contractor through UConn. He was a
Oh, okay.
professor of archaeology, been doing it a long time, and he would review projects, but it wasn't to the level of detail that they're doing it now. And it was kind of determined, at least in Connecticut and probably similarly to Rhode Island, that we weren't doing enough to meet the NEPA, the National Environmental Policy Act.
We know the federal
No.
government likes it.
Criteria.
Sure is. It's
So-
very involved.
Yes, right. So they stepped it up to say that
Got
we're
it.
meeting that criteria.
So the regulations existed, we weren't quite following them, probably. And
So
then
as I
Now, we were
understand-
trying to follow them, had the archaeologist, but
Right.
then she
A
left,
whole
she,
bunch of new
was laid off.
regulations got
Yes.
posted in, what's
I've
it,
been curious about
25,
that.
22, and 23, and 24.
yeah,
It
so,
might have been.
And they've been hiring them across the country, so I think it was in an
Right.
effort to step up that.
then I heard a lot of them were lost because so many of them were new. So a lot of them got laid off.
Yeah, which is, so I don't know how they're gonna handle that. It seems like something that's gonna have to shift because if you don't
Yeah,
have
one way or
person
the
in-house doing it.
You can always change policy. It's not in the law. It's just in policy. You can always change the
I
policy.
wouldn't be
Maybe
surprised
they'll-
if that
They
happens.
might do that. So
You
we'll
never
have to
know.
wait and see, but that's
May
the
not have a
situation we're in.
choice.
If that had happened first, that would. Onward,
Anyway. All right, anything else, Kat?
I think that's it.
Oh.
Yeah.
thank you,
Well,
Kat.
thank
Keep
you.
posted if there's any questions or if there's any information that you need at a
Very
future
good
meeting.
report. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, moving on, we can cross out, geez, all those, wow, we're just good tonight. State Conservation Committee. What the hell did we do the other day? Other than listen to somebody get mad. Now, we talked about,
But we got some updates from Bruni, but a lot of that will fall under the
Yeah.
discussion of current status of blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
And it's changed since then.
Yeah, and,
Um,
we talked about, state committee, what were we gonna do?
you wanna do soil health stuff?
Yeah,
Soil
yeah,
health.
soil health. But that started a big fight, and so we started,
It was a great.
we kinda, it was only one person, but,
But there's interest in, the state committee developing a soil health, initiative of some sort. I kinda like the idea of like a grant program I'm not on the state committee though, so let's stop, you go.
I can put you on the committee.
You wanna keep her,
No,
right?
Want more committees?
We're in the process of talking about it.
Mhm.
There are a lot of people out there, well, there's a number of people out there that are talking about soil health. One person in particular says, everybody's talking about soil health, but I don't believe that that's absolutely true, not in the state of Rhode Island anyway. So what we're talking about is, number one, because the state committee is basically under DEM, is anybody gonna get mad if we start this process? And I didn't think he's had any problem with it, didn't sound like he did. As far as ag was concerned, so I think the first thing that we would be able to do that wouldn't cost any money, and a lot of this won't cost money. I mean, there's a lot of information out there, there's a lot of expertise out there, and there are people who are willing to talk about it. So that would be to put somebody together, but we don't want a committee of like 50 people that were dealing with the solar back a couple of years ago, and nothing ever got done. We want an intense committee that can talk about it, and of course, NRCS would have to be involved in this as well as a few others. I know URI was very interested in it. But, I mean, it's gotta be a group that really cares about it and working towards some end, and I don't know that we can come up with that end until we put a committee together, put a group together. So, that's in the works, and it's not gonna happen overnight. Nothing ever happens overnight in this state, so that won't happen overnight either, but, I think that we will continue to go through with it. I think that there is enough interest that it would be something that we can continue to do, and it's something this committee ought to do. Many states have a soil health committee and are doing a lot of different things. several states, including Maine, are doing a soil health plan for the whole state. You know,
I thought that DEM already had a soil.
what was that?
The DEM, so when I signed up to be a farmer 5 years ago, the DEM said that they would send somebody out to do soil testing and nobody came.
I was gonna say, I'm sure they told you everything you need to know by now, right?
I never heard of that,
No,
no.
Would it have been part of a conservation plan that the district puts together, or is that what
It
they
could
was
have
talking about?
been, we could do that, but we're not DEM.
well, things were up in the air because it was the beginning of COVID as well, so I don't know whether that.
No, we pretty much kept doing all our field stuff.
Well, I thought it was interesting that this one person was very upset over what we were talking about. And, you know, this was the person that said that everybody knows about it. We don't need to do that. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on out there. And as far as I know, I am the only person with Forest who has and you can tell me differently, forest soil health practice.
Yeah, I've never heard of anybody else
And
myself.
so if everybody knows about it, why aren't there at least 5 of us in the state?
We test that at Bambi Farm. Like if we're doing anything with the soils, we have 2 tests, a manual test and then we have the digital test. So if the digital test and then the other test is almost the same, we'll do,
The testing is a part of
Yeah.
the soil health. Soil health is more about conserving
oh, okay.
soil on site and improving the
Oh,
soil
okay.
health. So yes, testing is part of it, but it's more than that.
Okay.
It is a lot of what Bonnie is doing anyway.
And I think one of the problems is going to be that when if hopefully we'll start doing this, is that we're going to get a lot of pushback from people who want to disturb prime and other good soils. You know, that's the Rhode Island way too. I mean, especially with this push on housing. You know.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of what was the whole thing at the state committee.
What does a soil health plan on forest land look like? I've never seen that.
666K.
Okay. For CSP you're doing it?
It basically what it amounts to is low impact to the soil. In other words, I'm going there with great big skidders and run around all over the place, chewing it up, especially during wet time, and, you know, causing all these things. You work from the back to the front. And a lot of it
Yeah.
depends upon what's going on that land.
Like common sense stuff.
Huh?
Common sense.
It is a lot of common
Yeah.
sense.
Forest or something.
From the forestry perspective. Okay, interesting. I'll look at
Yeah,
that.
DMPs, you know, using.
Yeah,
Common sense to us, but whatever.
yeah. Sure. But yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, to me, it's something that NRCS planners should be doing.
They probably are.
Should be asking to be done to anybody who's starting a forest conservation plan.
And we are supposed to be, so we are evaluating more resource concerns now than we were. So it's not really a case by case basis anymore. Like we're looking at each thing. So it should be comprehensive. Yeah.
And Mark and I did find out that it can only be put on what you're planning to work on. Because I was gonna
Right.
have them put it on the whole piece of property that I have.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't do that.
Yeah.
But the only one who knew that was Melissa.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like slip through the cracks.
So I guess more people probably know now.
Maybe.
Anyway, so
Oh, interesting.
moving on. RC and D, did you have anything for Paul?
Oh, he's got all sorts of events. I would join his
I was gonna say it's in that.
That's next up,
rcnd.org
but this coming
webs-
Friday, he's
email.
got a
I'll pass the whole path.
forestry for the birds workshop at the library.
Lots
Yeah.
of
Oh,
library
that's what this is.
presentations.
Yeah.
Friday.
That's the next 2 events, and on the back is Environment.
He's also really gearing up for Envirothon. He's looking for volunteers for all sorts of things. If anybody wants to volunteer as a judge or a runner or a helper, Envirothon is such a great day. I always have a wonderful time there. And I'm really glad to be involved in it. I'm not gonna take one of these because
Okay,
I'll go to the office.
moving on.
There's a couple extra, you can just.
Mark, around Forest Conservators Organization.
Well, we have a workshop, our spring program coming up, May 17th. Saturday, May 17th. It's gonna be at our demonstration woodlot in Foster, and which is the Northern Rhode Island Forestry for the Birds demonstration site. And so I'm hoping to get a notice to Paul for Friday so that people who show up to this presentation can be aware of the fact that they can get it. I'm hoping to line somebody up from Audubon to be there to do the bird IT stuff. But then we're gonna be looking at a variety of things. We've done a bunch of NRCS projects out there.
Yeah, what's this workshop focusing on?
It's gonna be several things going on at the same time. We'll have some mushroom logs. We're gonna look at ash survival following the emerald ash borer. We're gonna look at a 20-year-old 2-acre cut that we're gonna be doing oak sapling release work on. We're gonna be looking at the area that we did thinning in with bird habitat in mind. We're gonna be looking at the 3-acre habitat clearing that we did a slash wall around half of it to protect regeneration. So it's gonna be a mixed bag morning workshop.
Cool. We could do a table at that for outreach. Maybe
You're welcome
put
to.
out some forestry information for the NRCS.
You're welcome
May
to.
17th. All right, I'll,
Saturday, May 17th.
what time?
It's 9 to 12, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to Julie about
We
that.
are starting at 9 again, not 10.
What was 10?
I was down at Tom's place, and I showed up for Ryan.
All
That's late for
right.
you guys.
We got too much on our plate.
Been up for hours
to be
by
a
then.
toddler. Who was it suggested 10 o'clock?
That was Hillary.
It might have been.
Yeah.
It might have
I
been.
can see that.
You know why? Because her daughter complained, oh, it's so
Right.
early on a Saturday. She doesn't even go
I
to
still
work.
Saturdays are
Happening.
important for people. It's when they're Saturdays.
Especially, yard work. on
This time of
nice
year,
day.
Okay. Moving on, anything else?
We did, we talked about it last time, well, you might have brought it up, we had that winter workshop, March 13th, but it was on the BMP manual, which the state has released their new BMP manual, which
Does NRCS have any DMV?
I don't know. I had to ask Chris Morissette if he because Chris was there and so was Melissa. Chris and Melissa attended. I know they each got one. I don't know if they got more to bring to.
For what? I'm sorry, I missed what you were asking.
This is the forestry for Best Management Practices guidebook.
Oh, the guidebook.
Yeah, little guidebook.
Mhm.
It's a small version. They're working on, DFE is working on a more of a desktop version that will include guidelines on developing management plans and best practices for forestry in general, which will be more of like a PDF, something that people can
I was
download.
gonna say, would that be something that they could, it would be like an app that people could use, or
Well, no, it'll be a PDF that somebody could,
sits down at a computer and pulls that, other than me, but.
I mean, some people might actually print it out. But it's kind of thing where if I email it to all RIFCO members, 10 people will actually look at it.
Okay.
But what are you gonna do?
How many members do you have now?
4,336.
A little over
Oh. Like, wow.
I worked today, I'm tired.
Just
I'm
wondering,
gonna
like,
do
10
this.
people out of 100, that's.
All right, moving on.
sugar for you.
Discussion
Monthly.
Is he shaking?
Discussion of current status of grants and potential impacts for FY 2026 budget.
Oh, you guys, I have news on some of our grants. And none of the news I have is bad. Some of it, it's all neutral or positive. News one, the 2024 NAC, this impacts you too, Kat. This impacts workload. The 2024 NACD
Yeah.
TA agreement has been signed and executed. Kat, that's Amanda.
Good, so we're keeping her for now anyway.
Oh,
How-
yeah.
How long is that good for? 2 years?
That will be a year.
1 year.
But the fact that they got it through again is probably pretty optimistic. There's been one every year since 2019, so.
Great.
It essentially funds one full-time equivalency planner.
Awesome. And she's on just full NRCS stuff or, yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Update number 2 is that they are going to pay our IRA bill from October through December,
Ooh,
and the one that is January 1st through the pause. This seems to be a direct result of the lawsuit that Eastern District participated in. So that's great.
Yeah.
Jermaine said it's all through and got approved. The money hasn't landed yet, but yay.
Just for notes, when is the pause? Was that?
I can't remember the exact date. I want to say it was about a week after the inauguration
Okay,
that we were told to stop work on the IRA agreement.
I'll just put.
So that was like,
February.
it was around February 1st, maybe. It's like we had about a month of work on that agreement. So that is my news. I think things are gonna start moving now that there's the NRCS senior leadership has all been nominated and confirmed and been in their jobs. I think we're gonna start to see movement. And the 3 district managers are going to meet with Rooney, assuming she's still acting. Is she still acting?
She is.
Okay. Rooney, Jermaine, and Walter, and Cassius to talk about agreements for next year in a couple of weeks. Hopefully by then we'll know. So they still are currently not allowed to add money to any existing agreements, even ones that we are allowed to continue working on. So this impacts the AT 535 agreement, which funds 20 hours a week of farm plans and or NRCS work. We have enough money in it to get us to the end of September. Yeah.
and they don't have any money for next year yet because there's
Right,
no
so
budget.
they don't
There's
know
only
their budget next year
There's
yet.
only a CR right now, so.
So they currently are not allowed to add any money to it. All indications are that they would like to because they're losing a lot of the federal planning staff and they would like to keep our staff working for that workload. But currently they're not allowed to. But things change every day, so we'll see what happens. But I was pretty happy about those 2 pieces of movement. Also impacting our next year's budget, I was hoping to make a chart, it just didn't happen, I'm so sorry.
It'll probably change tomorrow anyway, so.
Right, exactly, I was gonna do red light, green light, yellow, it was gonna be lovely. We might have told you this last month, but it's all happening so fast. So we applied for a number of private grants to fund the Urban Growers Leadership Program. One of the grantors, Ocean Hour Farm, told us our grant was selected to move forward, but they are having a delay in their grant making process for next year. It's total private money, it's not federal money, so we don't know why that is. But yay that we were selected to move forward, a great sign. There's a couple more we're still waiting to hear from, and we did get a no on that one from the Rhode Island Foundation, but it was kind of a stretch to what their particular RFP I replied to was. Just trying to sell it as like a health program because people would be eating more vegetables. It was a stretch. So that's okay. And traceability will be re-upped for next year with the amount reduced by about $1,000, about what it was this year. So basically, next month I'm gonna have some sort of draft budget. I'm gonna just have to either make some assumptions or have like varying scenarios. Okay, like if this grant goes back on and we look like this. If this grant goes back on, we look like that. And because we have good reserves, I might ask for us to go slightly negative to keep things going for a year. We don't wanna keep things going, in the negative for many, many years, but I think, you know, like I was kind of inspired by what one of the people said at the New England leadership meetings, that if you're a district that has that good reserve, like this might be the time to tap into it when federal money is less, to keep good programs going, keep them on their feet, and then see what we can find next year. The other thing I've done is looked at how we can strategically use existing grants in different ways while staying within the mission of the grant. So our USDA 2501 grant for Farm Bill mandated outreach to underserved producers can be used, and we have room in it, to support a little bit of technical work. And looking at the timesheet, since I asked Amanda and Molly to put some of their work under this grant, looking at the timesheets, our deliverables for that grant are gonna go through the roof. They're working with a ton of people. Almost so many of our, new and beginning farmers in Northern and veterans in Northern qualify under that grant. So it's gonna be kind of a win-win-win. And it will take the pressure off the tech grants, so we can use them more when we need to.
So that's like the HU umbrella for all the NRCS
It's slightly different because, the USDA had to do it a little different for every sub-agency.
Yeah.
But essentially, HU is a good guideline.
And so beginning farmer qualifies.
Beginning farmer and veteran qualify,
Okay.
yeah, and a few other categories were written into the Farm Bill as qualifying. So I'll have a draft. I'll try to actually have it so you could look at it before the meeting, but I'm gonna have to make some assumptions. We always have done our budget to the grants we have available, and I'm kind of looking at next year like, okay, what projects do we want to fund? And how can we do so? I think we're gonna be okay though. I really think we're gonna be okay. I think we can keep our staff working.
So there's been no negative
Negative
word
news.
from Providence Water, right?
I wouldn't expect there to be.
Well,
Why?
this day and age, who knows? The way things go. No, if you haven't heard anything from by now, everything should be fine.
They don't
We have
get-
a 5-year
they
contract.
don't get federal funding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's water rate.
That's not even on my radar to worry about.
But
Nuclear unlocked.
it wouldn't be so much the funding, it would be if somebody new got in up there in the chain of command and
Right.
said they didn't want to waste their time in keeping with the political atmosphere.
Right.
So that's a waste of time and money.
We have really good support from the Providence Water current
I
executive.
understand that, but I'm just asking, that was all. Never know. So many weird things.
We've
can
had some
happen.
requests from members of the board to do more outreach to the city of Providence specifically, which we're just doing as asked, as we are
Providence
asked.
is part of our district.
Oh, it's part of our district. It wasn't previously allowable under that grant agreement, though. They decided to make.
Oh,
it.
you're talking about the property.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Oh, yeah, we're happy to do it, and we've made some great new school connections, so we've been able to show that we're responding to that.
All right, any correspondence?
I guess just that free tree program. We're working with Woonsocket Health Equity Zone.
Pass it around if you
And,
haven't seen it.
Yeah, they sent this to me, I think it was yesterday. It's a new program for homeowners and renters. Renters always get left out of these things, but renters can also apply for these free trees. Red oak, silver linden, and eastern redbud. Very pretty, actually.
redbuds are lovely.
They're pretty
Great
pretty.
on tree.
Yeah, and the program looks like to be accessible both English and Spanish, because the flyers in English and Spanish, so I'm imagining they have someone on site that can translate if
They
they
do.
do, for sure. But yeah, so they're free, delivery and planting is 100% free. They just have to get a signature to plant the tree, so you don't even actually
How
plant
big
it
is the
yourself.
tree?
It sounds like seedlings, it
Oh.
sounds smaller. It's a good question, it does not say on this flyer how big the trees are, so,
Usually those urban trees are saplings.
yeah, I would imagine. they-
Seedlings get mowed over
A lot of times they're like
easily.
5-gallon bucket tree,
Yeah.
like
To look
like a
at the
tree.
flyer.
Yeah.
like a tree, but not a huge one. Not one that like a normal person can't like shove in the back of a Corolla.
So I can go plop one of these in my rental property and not have to, anyone have to like get permission.
Not in Connecticut, no trees for Connecticut.
Okay,
Oh, that's true.
Wow.
so
Just-
moving on,
In
Sorry.
Georgia.
Focus,
Yeah.
everybody.
That's my.
would any of you public like to bring anything up? We have public comment right now.
Anybody online?
I didn't see any comments.
Okay. All right, well, guess what? This could be a record.
Yeah,
Yeah.
move we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank y'all for being here.
No problem.
Thank you. That amazingly quick meeting. Dick, you have a new urgency to like keep us on task. I'm here for it.
Good to stay on.
Just like this to me.
Okay,
Nobody
so this is
knows
just
all
a
that.
report, so you have the CSP.
Not much to talk about.
Oh, this is CSD.
These are the equip.
Is this for the whole year or just like?
Fiscal year 2025.
Okay, so this includes round one, round two.
Yes, this is to date.
Oh, so it's everything that has been.
about this, right,
Got it. So mostly round one, maybe a couple of round twos.
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah, whatever.
I've got wood, we're,
So these are the.
Just
these
cut the
are
trees
the-
down.
Wow.
My phone.
cutting them off.
That could go up.
We're cutting them down. We started just cutting them down.
And this is equip, beginning farmer and rancher,
Norm,
socially disadvantaged.
Yeah.
That's a high,
That's
that's,
people out
that
there.
works like all.
The next thing
is it
I
just
know-
social disadvantage? Yeah, this beginning
And,
farmer.
he's cutting them at 8 feet.
Equip,
I don't know what all
working
these
group,
are.
socially disadvantaged.
So that's
farmer
all
and
they
rancher
do.
in general.
I'm on the staff.
Yeah.
And I said, I'd rather, because